Welcome to this video tutorial on the topic of implant-supported screw-retained crowns. This video features an overview of the entire production process. Further tutorials are available on our learning platform, with detailed information on the individual steps and phases. First of all, we add the patient to the system. And then add a new case. Select the restoration type abutment, followed by screw-retained crown. As design mode, we select biogeneric individual and determine the material. Select the grinding and milling unit and determine the manufacturer for the tie base, along with the associated implant type. You can choose between a tie base or a scan post for the scan process. The tie base can be used for scanning in cases of implants placed supragingival. This should only be selected once the correct positioning of the scan body can be checked. Using a scan post is recommended for implants when a deep gingival emergence profile is given. Only for the purpose of optical detection, the implant-specific scan post is screwed onto the implant. In our case, we are using a scan post. Click on the appropriate tooth in the odontogram and proceed to the acquisition phase. As of the CEREC Software Update 4.5.1, 4 image catalogs will be displayed automatically in the case of an implant restoration. Aside from the catalogs for the upper jaw, lower jaw, and the buccal bite, an additional corresponding scan body catalog will appear, depending on whether the restoration is located in the upper or lower jaw. In our case, it is in the catalog Scan Body Upper. The exclamation points on 2 of the catalogs indicate that these are mandatory scans. We begin by scanning the upper jaw without inserting the scan post, followed by a scan of the upper jaw with scan post. You have made a sufficient scan once a green check mark appears in the upper corner of the catalog. This indicates that the CEREC software now has enough data to work with, and we can proceed by scanning the lower jaw. Then we scan the buccal bite without the scan post. Once all catalogs are completed, we can move on to the model phase. The buccal bite registration is calculated automatically by the CEREC software. Now we go to the next step. Set Model Axis. We align the model on the template so that each tooth is located approximately in its respective quadrant. For optimum results, align the jaw in the buccal display so that the incisal point and the distobuccal cusp of the first molars are parallel with the horizontal guiding line. Also, in the mesial display, the quadrant of the jaw should be parallel with the horizontal guiding line. Then confirm with OK. Cut the implant-supported restoration out in the step Trim area. Double-click at any location to determine the start point of the trim line. You set the course of the trim line through further individual clicks and finish the trimming process by double-clicking. Ensure that the closing end of the line does not cut off any areas of the model that you want to keep. The smaller image area is hidden. If the wrong area is hidden, simply switch them by double-clicking on the hidden area. Then we continue with the next step to determine the position of the scan body. The position is defined by double-clicking on the tip of the scan body. Next, we check the emergence line. Here, you may continue with or without a gingiva mask. The emergence line is suggested automatically in blue. The line can be adapted to your individual needs. However, we are going to adopt the suggestion by the CEREC software in this case and move to the design phase using the double arrow. Here, you can also adjust the parameters for your restorations if required. We'll adopt the default parameters and start to modify the restoration. You can use the option Display Objects to mask the adjacent teeth to better adjust the proximal contacts. Next, we open the Tool menu and select the Shaping option. This allows us to optimize the mesial and distal contact point. Make sure that the last tool used is disabled to prevent accidental changes being made to the restoration while you continue working. Now we inspect the restoration from a different angle to identify points with either too much or too little pressure being exercised on the gingiva. You can use the Forming tool to remove material from the restoration in pressure-sensitive areas, such as in the vicinity of the implant shoulder. We can, for instance, increase the pressure by adding material to the gum line. Now we disable the Forming tool and hide the upper jaw to gain an unobstructed view of the whole restoration. Move to the next phase, the manufacturing phase, by clicking on the double arrow. Here, select the color of the CEREC Zirconia Meso block first. Confirming your selection brings you to the alignment of the restoration in the block and to the process for sprue positioning. The CEREC software automatically calculates the position of the restoration in the block. To launch the manufacturing process, click on the final step, Start Manufacture. Thank you very much for your attention. We would like to wish you every success when working with CEREC.